Question number 41. Okay, so it says on the number line, if R is less than S, if P is halfway between R and S, and if T is halfway between P and R, then S minus T over T minus R is equal to what? So this is the question. Let me select this, okay. Question mark. Okay, so it's talking about the number line. So we say like this, here is minus finite plus the infinite, and it tells us that R is less than S. So R is closer to here, and then S is here. And P is halfway between R and S. So P is at the middle here. Okay, and T is halfway between P and R. So T is here. So now we need to find the value of this operation, S minus T over T minus R must be equal to what? So here what we can do is that we are going to suppose. So since R is less than S, we can just say that if R is 0 and S is 8, for example, then what must be the value of P and R? So we say that P is halfway between R and S. So P is going to be equal to 0 plus 8 divided by 2, which is going to be equal to 4. And R is going to be equal to, T, for example, T is between R and P. So T is going to be equal to 0 plus 4 divided by 2, which is going to give us 2. So now all we are going to do is simply replace the values. So S is 8 minus T, T is 2 over T, 2 minus R. R we say is 0 here. And then this is going to give us 6 over 2, which is 3. So you can suppose, like, you can take maybe here is going to be equal to 10 or 16 or 12, and you'll find out that you're going to find this particular answer, 6 over 2, which is equal to 3. So that's the correct answer. Question number 42. Let's go to that question. It says, Paul is planning to save $1 this week and then save $1 more each succeeding week than he saves the week before. His goal is to save $210. Using his knowledge that the sum S of the first n consecutive positive integer is S equal to n factor of n plus 1 over 2, where n is greater than 1, he can determine that it will take him how many weeks to reach his goal. So S here, so this S here is actually the sum of what Paul is going to save, and the target is $210. So this is the target. So we can work with this value of S. And then n, in this formula here, n is actually the number of weeks it will take Paul to reach his goal or target, okay, of $210. So now we can then use this formula here, which is like this, over 2. So what we are going to look here is that we are going to look for the value of n. So this will give us n like this is equal to 2s, and we will have n squared plus n equal to 2 times 210, and this will be n squared plus n minus 420, which is equal to 0. Okay, so now we need to find the value of n. This is a quadratic equation. Sorry. So let's find the value of n. So 420 here is actually equal to 7 times 5 times 4 times 3, or equal to 21 times 20. So knowing that, we can, simplify this quadratic equation to be n plus 21 factor of n minus 20, like this, equal to 0. Yeah. So once we have that, we are going to have two values for n. So n plus 21 can either be 0, n minus 20, 0. This will lead us to have n equal to minus 21, or an n equal to 20. So we have two values, but the question is asking us to find one single value. So this is not possible because, so I would say not possible, because the question is to determine the number of weeks, but the number of weeks cannot be negative, okay? So this is not possible. N being minus 21 cannot be our answer because the number of weeks cannot be negative here. So we are going to be left only with this answer, which is 20. So that's our answer. Answer D is the correct answer. Okay, so that's how you can find the number of weeks that Paul will need in order to reach his target of 210. Okay, so moving on to question number 43. Question 43, it says here, so that if x times y is equal to y minus 2 factor of x plus y for all integers x and y, then 2 times factor of minus 3 is equal to what? Okay, so that's the question. So this is what we have here, x plus y, like this. So this 2 times factor minus 3 is equal to this. Here 2 is x here, and minus 3 is y here. Okay, so all we are going to do is to use that logic and replace the values. So this is minus 3, which is equal to 2 minus 3, okay, minus 2 factor of 2 plus minus 3 like this. And this will be minus 6 minus 2, 2 minus 3 minus 6 minus 2 factor of minus 1, and then minus 6 plus 2 minus 4. Answer C is our answer. As simple as that. Okay, so we just needed to find the pattern, and then that would lead us to the answer. Move on to question number 44. Of the 65 cars on a car lot, 45 have air conditioning, 30 have power windows, and 12 have both air conditioning and power windows. How many of the cars on the lot have neither air conditioning nor power windows? Yeah, so this is an interesting question. So first of all, we are going to call AC is going to be equal to the number of cars with at least the number of cars with at least air conditioning. So when I say at least here, so it's the number of cars. The car can have only air conditioning, or it can have air conditioning and power windows. Okay, that's what we are going to call AC. And then we're going to say no AC is going to be equal to the number of cars with no air conditioning. Okay, so it's going to be the number of cars without air conditioning. It can have power windows, or it can have neither of both. That's it. And then we'll have, so here I will say with at least, okay. PW, I'm going to say this is the number of cars with at least power windows. And then no PW is going to be equal to the number of, so it's cars, number of cars with at least no power windows. So once we've determined that, we can use a table to actually determine the various values. So I'm going to use a table like this. Okay, so here I'm going to say AC and no AC. So these values here. And down here I'm going to say PW for power window and no PW. So in the prompt, it says that of the 65 cars, that means that the total number of cars is 65. So that's the total. Of the 65 cars on a car lot, 45 have air conditioning. So this is AC, the number of cars with at least air conditioning. So I'm going to put it here. So it's actually a car will have air conditioning with power windows or without power windows, but it must have air conditioning. Okay, and then we have 30 of them have power windows, and I'm going to use 30 here. So it must have power window with or without air conditioning. And then it says that 12 have both air conditioning and power windows. So we are going to cross here 12, that will be here. So air conditioning and power windows, it's 12. So now the question is, how many of the cars on the lot have neither air conditioning nor power windows? So this is neither air conditioning nor power windows. So it's this cell here that we need, because it's no air conditioning, no power window. That's what it is asking. But in order to find this one, we need to find the value here. We need to find the value here as well. Okay, one way we can do that. So here, since the total is 45, then this here must be equal to 33. Here, since the total is 30, then here must be equal to 18. And then here, since it's 65 as the total here, so here must be equal to 35. So once we have that, we can then find the value that we are looking for here. So 35 minus 33 is equal to 2, and this will be equal to 20. So as you can see, if you add 45 and 20, you have 65, and so this is our correct answer, 2. So answer A is the correct answer. So that's one way you can actually work and find this value. Okay, as straightforward as that. Let's go on and work on question number 45. So if the question number 45 says, if each photocopy of a manuscript costs 4 cents per page, what is the cost in cents to reproduce X copies of a next page manuscript? Okay, so here it will say cost of, so I'm going to say cost to photocopy just one page of the manuscript is equal to 4 cents. That's the value. So now, since the manuscript is made up of X pages, okay, like it says it, made up of X pages, then the cost to photocopy all the X pages of the manuscript is going to be equal to 4 times X cents. That's it. And then the prompt gives us another information. It says the prompt tells us that we have to make X copies of the manuscript. So then we will be having times X, 4 times X times X. You have to make X copies because it says reproduce X copies of an X page manuscript. Now this will give us 4 times X to the power 2, which is answer D. Yeah, so this is a word problem. Just by reading, you can find the logic and the mathematic logic that you need to apply in order to come to the right solution. Okay, let's go to question number 46. 46. If X is different from Y and Y greater than 1, which of the following is equal to this? Okay, so we have this y to the power 2 factor of y minus 1 minus x to the power 2 y minus 1 over y over y minus x minus y minus x, like this. So this is going to give us we are going to factor y minus 1, then y squared minus x squared, like this, over y minus x factor of y minus 1. So this will cancel, and here we will have y squared x squared over y minus x. So this is can also be written as y minus x factor of y plus x over y minus x. Y minus x will cancel, and the final answer is y plus x. So y plus x is also equal to x plus y. Okay, so answer A here is the correct answer. Very simple question. Let's move on to question number 47. 47. So we have if x plus 5y is equal to 16 and x is equal to minus 3y, then what is the value of y? So we have here x plus 5, y is equal to 16, okay, and x is equal to minus 3y. Then here what we can do, okay, so we can use the first equation like this. So x plus 5y is equal to 16. So we have the value of x in terms of y, it's minus 3. So here it's going to be minus 3y plus 5y is equal to 16. And then 2y is equal to 16. Y is equal to 16 over 2. Y is equal to 8. Okay, answer E is definitely our answer. So that's what you can do to find the answer to that question. Okay, let's go to question number 48. 48 like this. Question number 48. Yeah. In a survey on sales of question number 48. In a survey on sales of soft drinks, 65% of the surveyed customers say that they buy brand A regularly. 60% said that they buy brand B regularly, and 62% said that they do not usually buy either of the two brands. What percent of the surveyed customers said that they buy both brands A and B regularly? So we can use like the table method, maybe use a table in order to solve this, but I'm going to show you how we can use another method to solve this particular question. Okay, we could have gone and used this method here in order to find the solution, but I'm going to use a diagram and see how we can solution this. So first of all, so here I'm going to have this circle here, this circle here, put all of it in this square. So this, I'm going to say A, this I'm going to say B, this here I'm going to say Z, I'm going to call here X, I'm going to call it W, and this I'm going to call it Y. And the whole here, I'm going to call it T. Okay, so now, what do they mean? So T here means 100% of surveyed customers. Okay, so the total. So that's the total number of people that were surveyed. Like this. And then we can say A is going to be the percentage of surveyed customers that buy at least brand A. Okay, they buy at least in what they buy, brand A must be part of it. They can buy either only brand A or brand A and brand B. We don't know. And B is equal to the percentage of surveyed customers that buy, so here is buy, right? At least brand B. So A here in the prompt, it says that 65% of the surveyed customers say that they buy brand A regularly. So this is 65%, and this is 60% that say that they buy brand B regularly. So this is 60%, like this. Okay, so we still have some other variables that we need to identify. So we have T, B, A and B, and the next one is going to be Z here. This is actually the percentage of surveyed customers that do not by either of the two brands. And that's what he says. 32% said that they do not usually buy either of the two brands. 32%. Okay. So once we have that, we can also define X is what we are looking for is equal to the percentage of customers that buy both brands. So that's it. And we have what again? We have W. W is the percentage of customers that buy only brand A. They buy only brand A. They do not buy brand B. And then we have Y is like the opposite, percentage of customers that buy only brand B. So that's the logic. So now let's move on to the operations. So T is the total. So we know that the total here is 100%. So the total of 100% is actually equal to those that buy only brand A plus those of the customers that buy both brand A and brand B plus those that buy only brand B plus those that do not buy either of the two brands plus seed. So this is actually the total of the customers that replied or responded to the survey. So now we do not have the values of W and Y, and we are looking for X here. Okay, X is what we're looking for. So how do we go about finding the value of W? So we are going to use this here. We know that A is actually equal to W plus X because this is the circle of A here. Okay, and it's made up of W and X. So we can say A is equal to W plus X. Then W is going to be equal to A minus X. See, so that's, we can use that. The same thing for Y here. You know that B is actually equal to Y plus X. So Y is going to be equal to B minus X. So we will replace the values here. The value of W is going to be A minus X plus X here plus B minus X plus Z. And this is going to lead us to have, because this is going to cancel, so we are going to have A plus B minus X plus Z. So now X, if we want to find the value of X, it's going to be equal to A plus B plus Z minus T. Okay, so that's how we can find our solution. So in this particular operation, we have the value of A, we have the value of B, we have the value of Z, we have the value of T. So these are the values that we identified and declared up here. Okay, so what we can do is we will say X. So like if we come up here, so we know that T is 100%. This is 65% for A, 60% for B, 32% for Z. Now, let's just come down here. A is 65% plus 60% for B plus 32% minus 100%. So this, when you do the addition, 125 plus 32, 157 minus 100%. So X will be equal to 57%. Okay. Now looking at the answer choices, answer C is showing 57. Yes. So that's another approach. You could have used a table logic or approach, or you could use this particular approach as well. All right. Let's now go to question number 49. It says the maximum recommended pulse rate when exercising for a who is X years of age is given by the equation R equal to 176 minus 0.8x. What is the age in years of a person whose maximum recommended pulse rate when exercising is 140? So we say recommended pulse rate R is equal to 176 minus 0.8x. So here, x is equal to the age of the person exercising. Okay, so let's find x. The question is to find x when R is equal to 140. Yeah. So what am I doing here? Yeah. So now this is going to give us 140, which is the value of R, is equal to 176 minus 0.8x. So if we take 0.8 minus 0.8, we're going to have 0.8x, which is equal to 176 minus 140. Then x is going to be equal to 36 over 0.8. And then x is going to be equal to 36 times 10 times 8, which is equal to 9 times 5, which is equal to 45 years. When you simplify here, you find 9 times 5. 45 years is answer B. Question number 50. Let's go. Question number 50. That's another question. If n is the greatest positive integer for which 2 to the power n is a factor of 10 factorial, then n is equal to what? So the question or the prompt here wants us to find all the twos in 10 factorial. Okay, how many twos can we find in 10 factorial? So we know 10 factorial is actually equal to 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So we are going to simplify it the more. So 10 is 5 times 2. This is 3 times 3 times 2 times 2, because 8 is actually equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. 7 is a prime number. 6 here is 2 times 3 times 5, which is a prime number, and 4 is 2 times 2 times 3, which is a prime number, times 2 and times 1. Okay, we can even drop that. So now how many 2's do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 2 to the power 8 times how many 3's? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 3 to the power 4 times how many 5 do we have? 1, 2. And then how many 7 do we have? We have 1, 7. Okay, so here we have 2 to the power 4. So this is a factor of 10 factorial. This is also a factor. This is also a factor. So, but we are mostly interested in 2 to the power 8 here. So this will lead us to have n being equal to 8. So answer D is the answer that we are looking for. Moving on, question number 51. So we have this value here. It says, what is the value of x squared yz minus xyz to the power 2 if x is equal to minus 2, y is equal to 1, and z is equal to 3? Okay, so this minus xyz squared like this can be written like this. Okay, so now we have x is minus 2, y is 1, z is 3, and x is minus 2. Minus 2, and then we have z is 3, but it's minus z, so minus 3. This is going to give us minus 6, factor of minus 5. And minus times minus is plus. 6 times 5 is 30. So the answer is answer C. That's our correct answer. Yeah, so moving on to question number 52. Question number 62. So here, question number 52. A scientist recorded 1,000 measurements in a certain experiment. If 42% of the measurements are less than or equal to 11, and 18% of the measurements are greater than 37, how many measurements are greater than 11 and less than or equal to 37? So we are going to say n is equal to total number of measurements recorded, which is 1,000, as the prompt said. $1,000. Okay. Now it says measurement that is less than what am I doing? Yeah. So the measurement that is less than or equal to 11 is 42%, so 32% of the total number of measurements. So 42 over 10 times n, that is 42 times 1,000 divided by 100. So this is going to be equal to 420. Okay, so now the prompt also tells us that the measurement greater than 37 is 18% of the total number of measurements. So 18 times 1,000 divided by 100 gives us 180. So you see that. Okay. So one thing we can do now, we need to find, the question says, how many measurements are greater than 11 and less than or equal to 37? So basically, if we have like a line here, it's not straight. Yes. So we have 11 here, we have 37 here. And from what we have calculated, so here we have 420, and here we have 180. So this is x that we are looking for. That's the question that is being asked. And the total here is 1,000. So this means that 1,000 measurement that we created is actually equal to 420 plus x plus 180. And x is equal to 1,000 minus 420 minus 180, and x will be equal to 400. Okay, 400. So answer C is the correct answer. Let's go to the next question. Question number 53. For a light that has an intensity of 60 candles at its source, the intensity of candles S of the light at a point d feet from the source is given by the formula S equal to 60K over d to the power 2, where K is a constant. Okay, so we have the formula S equal to 60K over D. So K is a constant. That means that it does not change. So when we find the value of K, it's going to be the same everywhere. So if the intensity of the light is 30 candles at a distance of 2 feet, so we have S being equal to the intensity of the light, and then D being equal to the distance from the source. Yes. So it says if the intensity of the light is 30 candles at a distance of 2 feet, so that means that 30 is equal to 60K over 2, because the distance of 2 feet. This particular equation can lead us to find the value of K. So this is going to give us 30 times 4 is equal to 60K. And then K is going to be equal to 30 times 4 over 30 times 2. And this will be equal to 2. So K, we found the value of K, which is equal to 2. And the prompt says that K is a constant. And as I was saying, because it's a constant, so it doesn't change. Okay, so now the prompt is asking us what is the intensity of the light at a distance of 20 feet from the source. So we need to find S. We can use the formula. S equal to 60K over D squared. So D is 20 feet here. 60K is 2, and D is 20 squared. So this is going to give us 3 times 20 times 2 over 20 times 20, which is equal to 3 over 10 candles. So answer A is our correct answer. So that's how we find this answer. Okay. Moving on to question number 54. It says here, which of the following must be equal to x to the power, sorry, it says what? X to the power, let me erase this. So it says x to the power 6 times x to the power 4. So this is simply saying x times 6 4, x times 6 plus 4, here x to the power 10. Answer A. So this is normally supposed to take like 10 seconds. Okay. Question number 55. What is the minimum number of marbles needed so that the marbles can be evenly divided among a group of people regardless of whether the group contains exactly 18 people, exactly 24 people, exactly 30 people, or exactly 36 people. So simply put, the question here is asking which of the answer choices that we have here is actually divisible by 18, okay, 18, 24, 30, and 36. Because it says that the minimum number of marbles needed so that the marbles can be evenly divided among a group of people. So now, if we try to see here, actually 72 is equal to 36 times 2, and it also equal to 3 times, let me erase that again. Okay, so it's equal to 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 2, like this. But when you look at it, you can definitely see that here 72 is not divisible by 30. Because our answer that we're looking for must be divisible by all the four numbers here. So if one of the number is not a divisor of the answer choice, so we can cancel it already. 90 is actually equal to 2 times 3 times 3 times 5, but we also find out that it is not, when you look at it closely, because we can't find 36 here, and 24 as well. So it is not divisible by 24 and 36. 108 is actually equal to 2 times 2 times 27. Okay. This is not divisible by any of the number. So of the numbers. So the numbers here being 18, 24, 30, and 36. Okay. And 180 is actually equal to 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. We're looking closely here. The only number that it is not divisible by is 24. So this is not divisible by 24. So the only answer choice that we have left is 360, which is definitely divisible by all the numbers. Okay. So this is divisible by 18, 24, 30, and 36. So here, if you divide by 18, for example, we know that 3 times 3 here is 9, times 2 is 18. So 18 is a factor. 24, we can have 2 times 2, 4, and here 2 times 3, 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So it's a factor. 30, we can have 3 times 2, 6 times 5 here, 30. 36, we can have 2 times 3, 6, 2 times 3, 6, 6 times 6 is 36. So this is definitely our answer. Okay, so let's move on. Question number 56. So in this question, we have this formula here for non-negative integers m and m is greater than or equal to n if c 5, 3 is equal to this, and x is different from 3. So this is very important. What is the value of x? So x must not be equal to 3. So we have this formula like this. Okay, so we are going to apply it. Let me write it properly like this. Okay, so if we have given this C5 3 is equal to C5 x, so that means 5 factorial over 5 minus 3 all factorial, and 3 factorial is equal to 5 factorial over 5 minus x all factorial and x factorial. So this will cancel, and we will find ourselves having 5 minus x factorial being equal to this here 2 factorial 3 factorial. So we have like this. Two factorial, 3 factorial. So this can be, normally this 5 minus x can be equal to 2 or 3, and x in normal circumstances can be equal to 2 or 3 here. But we know that from the prompt it says that x cannot be equal to 3. X must be different. So since we only have 2 and 3 here, and x cannot be 3, x must definitely be 2. Okay, and that's the value of x that we're looking for. So since the prompt tells us that x different from c, so x is equal to 2. Answer C. So that's how you determine the value of x there. Let's go to question number 57. Okay, so question number 57. If a, b, and c are consecutively positive integers and a less than b less than c, which of the following must be true? And then we have the conditions. C minus a is equal to 2. ABC is an even integer. A plus b plus c over 3 is an integer. So let's take the first condition. The prompt says that, so since a less than b, and like this, and a, b, and c are consecutive, integers. Then C is actually equal to A plus 2. So normally we can say like B is equal to A plus 1 and C is equal to A. It's A plus 1. What am I writing? Let me remove this. Normally we have A, and then B is going to be equal to A plus 1, and then C is equal to A plus 2, like this. Or C is equal to B plus 1. But since we have B plus 1 is A plus 1, so it's going to give us this. Okay, so if we take this, C equal to A plus 2 can lead us to having C minus A is equal to 2. This is true. Taking the second condition, since it says ABC are consecutive integers, so out of 3 consecutive integers, at least one of the integers will be even. So at least one will be even. So if one of the integers is even, then the product of A, B, and C must be even. So the second condition is also true. And then let's come here. So since we've determined here that A, B is actually equal to A plus 1 and C is actually equal to A plus 2, then we can say that A plus B plus C over 3 is equal to A plus 1 plus A plus 2 over 3. And we will have 3A plus 3 over 3. And this will give us 3A plus 1 over 3. So this will have A plus 1. So since A is an integer plus 1, this will be an integer as well. Okay. The 3 conditions are true, so our answer is answer E. So this is a question where you need to really know the rules, the various rules, integer and even and stuff like that. Consecutive numbers. Okay, so let's go to the next question. This question. So if 2 over 1 plus 2 over y is equal to 1, then what is the value of y? So y is what we are looking for. So 2 over 1 plus 2 over y is equal to 1. So now this will be 2 over y plus 2 over y being equal to 1. This will be 2 like this, plus 2 being equal to 1. And then we're going to have 2y over y plus 2 equal to 1. And then 2y equal to y plus 2. Then y is equal to 2. So answer D. So this is a straightforward question. So let's take the last but one question. Okay, so here it says question 59. Square root of 4.8 times 10 to the power 9 is closest in value to which one of the answer choices here? So it's closest to value. We are not looking for the exact value. Okay, so this will be like this. This is actually equal to 48 times 10 to the power minus 1 times 10 to the power 9, like this, and it's actually equal to square root of 48 times 10 to the power 8, because we're going to have minus 1 plus 9 is 8. This will be equal to square root of 48 times square root of 10 to the power 8. 48 is approximately, square root of 48 is approximately equal to square root of 49. Okay, so we are going to use that. So this here we will say approximately equal to square root of 49 times square root of 10 to the power 8. So this will be approximately equal to 7 times 10 to the power 4, approximately equal to 70,000. 70,000 is B. Okay. Now let's go to our last question, which is question number 60. Okay. So it says here, for which of the following values of n is 100 plus n over n not an integer? So we have this. So from the answer choices, which one is not an integer? So here we have 100 plus 1 over 1 will give us 101. So this is an integer. So that's not our answer. Here we'll have 100 plus 2 over 2. 102 divided by 2 will give us 15. 51 is an integer. This is not our answer as well. So 100 plus 3 will give us 103. So 100 plus 3 over 3 give us 103 over 3. So we cannot simplify this further. So this is not an integer. Okay, so that's basically our answer. We can see that here, if we continue, give us 104 divided by 4, which is 26. This is an integer. And this is 105 divided by 5, which is 21, which is also an integer. So the answer is to find which one of the answer choices is not an integer. So it's this one. Okay, so that's how you can find the answer to that. All right, so that's how you solve this particular question.